Hi guys, thanks for this episode of Nick Egan Times. On this episode, we have an awesome guest. We have the sensational actor Richie Stephens. Richie Stephens is an incredible actor who often plays hardened gangsters and criminals. Richie has been involved in shows, for example, NCIS, Blue Bloods, Days of Our Lives, MacGyver, Major Crimes, and Criminal Minds. Richie Stephens and Silicon Valley co-creators John Alchester and David Krinsky have created the book The Gangster's Guide to Sobriety, which is going to be available on May the 24th, 2022 via Postal Press, distributed by Simon and Schuster. Richie Stephens' upcoming book, The Gangster's Guide to Sobriety, My Life in 12 Steps, is a first-person real-life account detailing his involvement with drug trafficking, kidnapping, and robbery, among other misdeeds, and his unexpected hard-fought path to redemption. Stephens collaborated with the Silicon Valley creators to create the book. Welcome to Richie Stephens, and thanks for coming on the podcast.
Hey Nick, thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
It's good to meet you. Yeah, I really like your show. I've been listening to some of your past episodes.
Thank you, I appreciate that. How's it all been going over there?
Oh, pretty good. I have this book coming out in a couple of weeks, and you know, it's been kind of like the Hollywood people don't know about my past history. I played these bad guys on TV, and I'm in recovery from drugs and alcohol for over 10 years now, and the people in recovery know about my story, but I kept it quiet for a lot of years, and so it's obviously surprising to a lot of people. A lot of people didn't know what I was up to in the past, and I'm not proud of a lot of the things I did, but that's my story.
Mate, I appreciate you sharing insights into that, but more importantly, everyone's got a background, right? Everyone's got a story, and everyone's not perfect. So, yeah, mate, that's great. That's great that you're even doing the book and you're sharing it. So that's incredible. All right. How has the pandemic affected you personally and professionally since it's began?
The pandemic? Well, I had a lot of time to write. Yeah, no, it's been difficult here. We had a lot of shutdowns here in LA, and I like to smoke cigars, so that's like the one place I could go to smoke at the cigar club to meet other people. And I'm in recovery as well, so a lot of the meetings changed to online as well. So that was a big change where I'm used to going out and meeting people, and it's all virtual now.
Yeah, that's where the world's headed, and yeah, it's where it's going. All right, let's jump straight into it. Tell me briefly, I guess, about your life story and how it all began for you. So, I guess, in brief, where you came from Ireland all the way to where you landed in LA.
Okay, well, I'm born and raised in Ireland, moved to America around 2005. So I'm almost 20 years here in America. And, when I was a kid, I was kind of shy, I was kind of quiet, just withdrawn. I a lot different from how I am now. And I think that's why I got into the drinking and the drugs when I was about 14 or 15, because it, it, it it helps me to not really care what anybody thinks about me. The shyness was gone. I could talk to girls, I could fight. All these kind of things that I was shy about before. So for me, um, I got into the whole drugs and alcohol thing to try and feel normal. But one thing led to another, and I was never what you would call a normal drinker. I was always a bit of a lunatic from the start, and I just ended up getting in trouble from a young age. Like the drinking age in Ireland is 18, but when I started drinking, I wanted to go to clubs and bars and be out with the adults, but you couldn't get in unless you had a fake ID or a real ID. So I decided to make fake IDs, and that was my first little bit of misbehavior, but it turned into something crazy. I ended up making them for everybody in the school, and then for people in other schools that I hadn't even met before. I had this like fake ID business where I was making loads of money and helping all the other kids to go out drinking. And that was the first time the cops uh, came to the attention of the cops, and one thing just led to another from there, and eventually it ended up where I moved to America when I was about 22. I got married to an American girl. I had kids very young, and I kind of thought Ireland might be the problem first. So then I moved to America, and later I even moved to Australia at one point. I lived in Melbourne for a wee while as well, and then I think so. So fast forward to 2010, uh, I was involved in gangs in San Francisco. I was selling drugs, robbing, all this kind of stuff, and I was suicidal. And basically, what happened was I needed to change my life, and uh, I needed to change my life. And a guy that I met started taking me to meetings, to 12-step meetings, and that's how I got sober. And um, after I got sober, I intended on having a construction business. I took the test for my license, and I was once I got sober, I decided I wasn't going to misbehave anymore. I was going to be a good guy, no more breaking the law, any of that kind of stuff. And then I broke my back in an accident, and after that happened, my career as a carpenter was over, and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And this girl that I knew, she suggested I try modeling, and by that stage I was 30. I had my nose broken a lot of times. Um, I didn't think I was model material, but I was open to suggestions, and I did a little bit of that. And then a director saw me on a modeling website, and he asked me to be in his movie. And it was like a really low budget movie, and it was a gangster thing. And the guy, he said, he said he needed someone to play a German gangster. He said, "Don't take this the wrong way, but you have that look about you." And I didn't tell him about my past, but it was telegraphing, and that's how I got my first role, and I really enjoyed it. And then I decided I'm going to try and be an actor now. So I went to school and took a bunch of classes and moved to LA, and the roles got bigger, and here I am. And then so I was an actor for a good few years, and the way the book came about was I speak at meetings a lot. Like if you're in sobriety, people ask you to come and share your story, and a lot of times I have a crazy story. Not a lot of people have. Most people who did the kind of things I've done are either dead or in jail, and a lot of times after meetings, people will come up to me and say, "Oh, Richie, you need to write a book." And eventually I started doing it. And the way I hooked up with John and Dave, so John and Dave, they're two of the biggest writers and showrunners in Hollywood. They created Silicon Valley and King of the Hill. They're two of the most successful shows ever. And the reason I met up with them, I was helping a buddy produce a comedy that he had made, and I pitched it to John. I didn't know him at all, and he liked the thing we were working on, and we met up, and he was a really cool guy. That particular project didn't go anywhere, but he said, "I like you guys. Keep sending me stuff, and we can maybe work together." I sent him a few more things, and then I wrote the book, and I wrote about all my experiences, and I sent it to him, and then he said he wanted to meet again. I told him a few yarns, and then he was like, "Do you want to partner up on this, and we can make it into a show and write a book together?" And that's how it all began.
Oh, that's an incredible journey, and yeah, mate, respect to where you're at now.
Hmm.
All right, elaborate a bit more on the book and what I guess readers and even the listeners listening can expect when they buy it.
Okay, well, it's not a long book. It's under 200 pages. It's about my journey in sobriety, and it's also about my crazy criminal past. And like it's a redemption story. I went from somebody who's suicidal and homicidal to somebody who is a fairly normal dude now, acted in Hollywood. He's a dad, you know, and yeah, it's pretty gritty. So I wouldn't recommend it for kids. And I'm watching my language here when I'm talking to you, but I do curse like a sailor in the book, so you can expect that. But yeah, it's definitely an unusual story. That's why they want to make a TV show out of it.
Wow, I'm looking forward to getting it. That's exciting. Tell me about the acting. So you've been in shows like NCIS. Talk to me about that and how that, I guess, journey was as well.
Well, so when I started acting, usually when you join an acting class, uh, if it's a good acting class, the sorry about that, someone's calling me. If it's a good acting class, the teacher will tell you what your type is, like what kind of roles you should play. And from the very start, when I went into acting class, they told me I'm bad guy. I'm going to play the villain. So those are the roles I kind of auditioned for, and I started off doing low budget stuff and even Japanese TV and Bollywood. I even did one little Bollywood movie. Because up in San Francisco, there's not a huge film industry up there, but I did what was available up there. The roles just got bigger over the years, and I've had a really good experience doing it. Like, I'm typecast as bad guy, but it could be worse. I could be nerd or fat guy.
Well, that's great. And getting into doing Bollywood, you get a lot of traction there. There's over 1 billion people there, right? So you got some Indian fans.
You have to try hard to find that one.
Oh, that's too good. What motivates you daily? What inspires you?
Yeah, what inspires me? I just try and do my best every day, whatever I'm doing. I enjoy acting and writing because everybody likes story, and it's something I'm good at. I just ended up doing it. I thought I was going to be a carpenter, and then I broke my back and ended up doing this. I kind of feel like it's what I'm supposed to be doing.
That's incredible. And I believe you speak 6 languages. Is that right?
Not fluently, but yeah, I speak Irish, English, French, German, a little Spanish, and a little Russian. I
Well,
just
that's
learned the
incredible.
Russian for roles.
Well, that's incredible. And how? Yeah. So was it just for roles you learn all the languages? How did you? What made you
Well,
get into that? Yeah.
well, in Ireland you have to learn Irish and English, and usually French or German. I learned a bit of both. And then when I came to America and I worked in construction, a lot of the guys in construction don't speak English; it's Spanish. So I learned the basic Espanol on the construction sites over here.
It's
But
incredible.
yeah, I've always had a thing about accents. I can do over 50 different accents. It's just something I can do. I've always been able to do it even before I became an actor. I'm interested in how different people sound and how they say things. So I've always been interested. Like you're in Australia. I like when I was over in Australia, I noticed that the guys always say, "Hey, going?" Like for how are you? And the girls always say, "Hey, you going?" with a J on the end of it. You know,
Yeah.
it's just interesting to me.
Yeah, no, and I can agree more. I love the Irish accent. Like, I think it's really unique too. I really, really like it. What what is the genre of acting? So you play hardened criminals, generally speaking, in that I guess genre. Is there other acting roles you want to explore, or different types of acting? Like for
Oh,
example, you know how other actors have been, I guess, being put in a specific box and they always generally play something, but then they get out of that and they go into other
hmm
different areas that might challenge them. Is that something you're interested in, or is that something where you want to take your career?
oh, absolutely. Yeah. I would say I'm a character actor because I never really get to play myself. Like I'm an Irish dude, and I think I've only played one Irish role for an Amazon show called Lore. So I'm always kind of doing transformational stuff, usually of the villain or like the cop who arrests the hero. But yeah, I love doing comedy and other stuff as well. But so far, they mostly just pay me to be the bad guy. But I'm capable of other stuff, and I'm willing to try my hand at other stuff, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're extremely talented. You've got an amazing future,
Thanks.
especially the trajectory you're on.
Thank
All
you.
right. What do you like to do? I guess what are your passions and hobbies aside from the busy schedule you have in acting and even the book? What do you like to do in your downtime?
Well, I like to work with other people in recovery. I like to cook. Actually, that's one of the things in the pandemic I got a lot better at. I really enjoy cooking. I smoke cigars. Um, yeah, I like to watch TV as well. There's so much good shows right now. It's like an embarrassment of riches. Right now, I'm watching The Offer. That's that's about the making of The Godfather. I've got one of my buddies who's in that show, and I was watching Billions and Succession. there's so much good shows right now. All the Taylor Sheridan stuff is amazing.
Wow. And if you could go back in time, say you're 18 again, and you could change anything, what would you change, or what regret would you, I guess, manipulate or change at the time?
Well, there's not really a whole lot I can change. Obviously, I've done a lot of things I regret. Um, if I could change anything, I would have got sober younger. I got sober at 28, but I guess it took whatever it took for me to change the way I was living. Yeah, I wish I had behaved better. Obviously, it's just a lot of stuff. You read the book, you'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued, and I can't wait to read it. Um, what does your future look like? Where do you see yourself going? Like, where do you see yourself in, say, for example, 10 years time?
I'd like to be doing bigger projects or doing bigger roles than what I've been doing, and I've planned on writing another couple of books as well. Um, I have a construction background too, so I'm interested in development and stuff like that. And I'm a dad. I try and be a good dad with my kids. Um, yeah, basically continuing what I'm doing and expanding the creativity.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Richie, thanks for coming on the podcast. I do appreciate it. It's incredible, your background, your journey. I can't wait for the book and to the listeners. Get it, read it. It's going to be incredible. And yeah, I just can't wait to see your future transpire.
Thanks a million, Nick. It was great talking to you. And anybody who hasn't heard Nick before, you should subscribe and like this podcast. And if you guys want to find out any more information, you can see my credits on IMDb. It's Richie Stephens. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. Richie Actor is my handle. And the book is available. It's on Amazon, WH Smith, Walmart, all those kind of places. And you'll be able to get it on Audible as well. I just recorded the Audible for the voice version of it.
Yeah, the Audible sounds exciting. I love Audible.
Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, so have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah.